Hello everyone, it's the Pace Chaser again. Welcome to another video. This is another one of the model reviews that I do from time to time, and this one is something different because we're reviewing an unbuilt kit. So hopefully there will be a follow-up video where we look at the built and painted model that I've produced from it. But the kit in question is Midland Bus Kits MBK013, 1978 Leyland Atlantean with Northern Counties bodywork, and it's a model of Nottingham Vehicle 666. So this is a resin kit. Normal format, I'll run through the history of the real vehicle. We'll talk a little bit about Midland bus kits, and then we'll go on and have a look around the bus, the unbuilt kit, see what's good and what isn't, and then we'll talk about price and stuff like that in case you want to buy one for yourself. Just a quick view there of the contents of the box. When you first open it, you've got a bit of an instruction sheet there with a picture of the rail bus on it, and the kit comes wrapped in some kitchen roll type material, and there it is. So before I start, I just want to say don't worry too much about building kits, but building the resin kits anyway. I used to avoid kits like the plague. I've been repainting die-cast buses for about 10 years, just more than that slightly. I can repaint die-casts, I can modify die-casts, I can detail die-casts, but I was a complete disaster area when it came to kits. The old white metal kits and the plastic ones where, you know, you got separate sides and fronts and things. I did build a few of them, but the results were generally terrible, and I tended to avoid them. However, this new generation of resin kits, as you can see, have one-piece body shells. It's not just Midland bus kits. I've done PSG models ones, city bus models, and there's various other manufacturers. And basically all of them, you just check the box and it goes together. They're really, really simple to construct. And believe me, if I can construct it, then so can you. Just a quick safety warning: if you do handle the unpainted resin kit like this, just wash your hands before you eat anything or have a cigarette or anything like that. Don't put your hands near your mouth, because there are some toxins on the resin which are not very nice to ingest. So just make sure, as I say, once you've handled it, that you wash your hands before you go anywhere near your mouth. So the real vehicle at Nottingham 666 was a Leyland Atlantean with Northern Counties bodywork, delivered in November of 1978, registered ARC 666T. If you got a fleet list from that era, if you get some of the bus handbooks from like the 80s and 90s, it just appears in the middle of a block of buses, and it looks like just any other bus really. It was in a batch of Leyland Atlanteans with Northern Counties bodies. However, it was substantially different. The rest of the batch looked something like this bus here, in a picture by Dave Root, shared under Wikimedia Commons License 2.0. As you can see in this photo by Thomas H. Taylor, also shared under Wikimedia Commons License 2.0. 666 was a very different beast indeed. It was a bit of a test bed, a bit of a concept bus, but unlike most concept buses, it actually did a full service life. The main thing it was testing was the bonded windscreens. Nottingham, in common with many operators at the time, had problems with the windscreens working loose on their vehicles. Basically, the front of the buses tended to be made of fiberglass, and the windows were held in with a rubber gasket, and as the bus went along, the heavy glass used to shake about, and it kind of sawed away at the rubber gasket and the fiberglass, and the windows came loose. I believe some operators had windows fall out, but I don't think Nottingham ever got to that sort of stage. The solution was to reinforce the rubber gaskets with bits of metal, which looked absolutely terrible. So at the time, the automotive industry had started to use bonded glazing, where the glass is glued into the structure. So Nottingham decided to try and use that and test it out on this bus. Northern Counties, who built the bodywork, weren't interested in bonded glazing, so they supplied the bus with no windows in the front at all. It just came with the framework. The windows were meant to be installed by a third-party contractor, but unfortunately the representative of them was taken ill at the 11th hour, so actually Nottingham's engineers put the windows in themselves. So it was a test bed for the bonded windows, which were successful, and they didn't have them so much on the front of subsequent buses, but it did use them on the side. It also tested a more upright rear profile, which you can't see in this shot, but basically the original, or the previous curved profile, the bus washing machines couldn't wash it properly. So it had a more upright profile, as we'll see on the kit very shortly. Some sources say it was a testbed for a single piece entrance door, but actually the other buses that came at the same time also had single piece doors, so it wasn't a test bed for that. It had a crash structure inside the front as well, a reinforcing structure as you find on some modern coaches. So it was quite ahead of its time. That kind of thing only really started to appear in the 2000s on certain higher end coaches. Not all of them have it nowadays. When it was new, it did have an experimental electronic blind as well, an LCD liquid crystal blind. Normally electronic blinds and Atlanteans are not a good mixture, and that was true in this case as well. The destination part of the blind was replaced very, very quickly with normal winders. The number blind survived until 1981 when it too was replaced with roller blinds. In both cases after quite a period of the bus running around with bits of paper in the windscreen saying where it was going to. When it was new, the bus had an experimental suspension system, but apparently it made the drivers and the passengers feel sick, so it was retrofitted with normal Atlantean leaf spring suspension. At some point by the early 90s, it was fitted with a Leyland 0690 turbocharged engine in place of its original Leyland 680. Nottingham had acquired 3 690 engines from Leyland. They'd been destined for Baghdad, but when the UK and Iraq fell out, they couldn't export them, so they sold them to Nottingham, who put one into 666, one into a row-bodied Atlantean, and they kept the other one for spare parts. The bus survived in service in Nottingham until 1999, November of 1999, when the last Atlanteans were withdrawn, and after that it was used as a driver trainer for a few years, and it passed into preservation. I'm happy to say it's still in preservation at the moment. It's preserved by the Nottingham Area Bus Society, and it's at the Great Central Railway, Nottingham at Ruddington. I couldn't talk about 666 without mentioning Andrew Pickering, whose name it carries. Andrew was a schoolboy from the Bulwell area of Nottingham. Unfortunately, he became terminally ill with leukemia. One of his favourite things to do was to stand outside his house and wave at the passing buses, and his favourite bus of all in the Nottingham fleet was 666. So Nottingham City Transport in 1994, they took it in and gave it a mini refurbishment. It was painted in this unique livery, which was based on the one it carried when it was new, and it was named Andrew Pickering. Tragically, Andrew died aged just 8 before the bus was finished, so he never actually saw it carrying his name, but it was named in tribute to him. They also put a bus stop near his home in Bulwell that carried his name, and that was there for a number of years. I believe it's gone now, but drivers used to wave at it as they passed, which was another nice feature. But that's Andrew Pickering. If you see the bus nowadays, I believe it still carries his name, and that's the story behind the name. So Midland bus kits. Relatively new manufacturer. I'm doing this video in November 2024. They've been around somewhere about 18 months, 2 years at this point. Previous kits they've done include Ford Transits, both the 16-seat version and the longer 18 or 20-seat version. Unfortunately, I missed out on those. The kits are normally limited runs, and I wasn't quick enough at trying to buy one, so I didn't manage to get one. Hopefully there'll be a rerun. Done various other things as well, MCV Evoras, Optare XLs. They've done various of the Barton Transports, low-bridge double-deckers that they had. There's other plans as well. I believe they're going to introduce a Yutong electric coach before long. And the kit, as I said, that we've got is MBK013, the Leyland Atlantean model of 666. There's also an MBK013A. I'll explain the difference. So 013 has this kind of baffle structure on the front, which was fitted when the bus was still more or less brand new. When it was first delivered, it didn't have that, and MBK 013A represents the bus before it had it fitted. The purpose of it was that they found the spray from the front wheels was going up the doors and the mirror and restricting the driver's view. So they put this kind of baffle on, and it created an airflow down the side of the bus which diverted the spray away, and it didn't go on the mirrors and the doors. But my plan for this bus is to model it in early 80s condition, in original livery, but it would have had this baffle fitted by that point, so that's why I've got this one. So let's have a look at the kit. So it's a one-piece body shell. The interiors, the upper deck and the lower deck come on separate pieces. That will drop out if I give it a push, but they come stored inside it so they don't take up a lot of room in the box. First impressions are really good. There's not much flash on it. In other words, the extra bits of resin and things that you need to file and sand off. There is a little bit to clean up. I don't know if you can see it on the bottom of the window there, but that'll come off with either a sharp blade or a little file. So we'll clean it up. Once you've removed the flash, And even if there isn't any flash with a resin kit, the first thing you need to do before you try and build it is to wash all of the components to get the sort of various moulding compounds and things off it. There's various things on the internet about how to do that, but you know, some of them are quite involved. All I tend to do is just get some lukewarm water in the sink, a bit of shower gel, and just give it a good scrub. Obviously don't use hot water because you'll distort the resin, but either cold or lukewarm is absolutely fine. And then just rinse it off in some cold water and leave it to dry by itself, and that's all I do with it. They're designed to be painted before you put them together, so I'll give this a coat of paint and then paint the interiors. So let's have a quick look at it. It captures the look of the rail bus pretty well, it has to be said. It was a very unique vehicle with 666, and in modern parlance it's a Marmite bus. You either love it or you hate it. I always liked Nottingham buses anyway. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. And 666, although it's different to most of them, I think, yeah, it's an absolutely great looking vehicle. But yeah, the front looks pretty much spot on, as do the sides. You've got the doors with the solid panels at the bottom that it had. There is perhaps slightly too much roof. The cove panels look a little bit deep. It's not too bad unpainted, but when you see it painted, they look a little bit deep, but they're not too bad at all. Generally, it does capture the look of the bus really, really well. You've got the sort of, it's not a bumper, but the sort of trim piece around there missing as well, which Nottingham did. They took them off because they tended to get damaged and they were quite expensive and complicated to replace. Go around the back, you've got the emergency exit as it should be, the only sort of recognisable normal Northern Counties feature on a Nottingham bus really. That was a standard Northern Counties fitment rather than something unique to Nottingham. You can see what I mean about the upright rear profile that the bus was designed to test. Apparently, as I said, the bus washers of the time could wash this properly, whereas they couldn't handle the curved domes of the previous vehicles. But yeah, the detail's good. You've got a little moulding there at the side of the bustle. You've got, if you can see them there, the vents on top of the engine bustle as well, which is nice to see. They're normally emitted on die-cast and things, so it's good to see them there. The Leyland lettering is present there as well. To show you the kind of attitude Leyland had towards customers in the 1970s, you had to pay extra for those. So my local operator in Hull didn't have them on because, as the boss said, why should I pay Leyland to advertise their product? But Nottingham, certainly in this case, had paid the extra for the Leyland lettering. Lights look pretty good as well. They're all nicely moulded in. They look lovely when they're picked out and painted. Got a little recess at the bottom there for the handle to open the engine bustle. Obviously it doesn't open on this being a resin kit. You've got a little flap there represented as well, which I believe was to top up the lubricant without having to open the full bustle. Offside again looks pretty good. The panels are nicely moulded in as well on both sides, as we can see, so they should look really, really good when it's painted. And the slightly unusual roof profile, well, very unusual roof profile captured well there. No chassis detail as you would expect on a kit, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to display it upside down. The interior looks really good. Nottingham managed to get a lot of seats into their buses. The standard for a two-door bus at the time was about 70 to 72. This bus had 78. So you can see the seats shoehorned everywhere, including under the staircase. That's why there's no under staircase locker or anything, because there was a seat under it and a staircase sort of hanging there. Just a word of warning, if you are putting one of these together, just be careful when you're assembling it that you don't break the bulkheads off. I've managed to do it on other manufacturers' kits, pushing the interior in and they catch on something and snap off, which is quite annoying. But generally it looks really, really good. It should look brilliant when it's painted and put together. So the wheels are there, and usually on this kit they are resin. Normally these kits come with white metal wheels, but these, as I say, are resin. They look pretty decent. The level of detail on them appears to be quite good. Axles there that you cut down to size with a pair of cutters, and you've got the white metal steering wheel there. Obviously just glues onto the support pole that you can see there at the front of the cab. Another feature that I missed there as well, you've got the sort of ticket machine there sticking out as well, where you're taking your ticket. Very, very nice feature to see. I just found there's the glazing. These kits are designed to be glazed from the outside, which makes it a lot easier to do. Basically, you cut round the window that you want, and then you offer it up. It's a top tip to just paint the window surrounds black before you start doing it. I think they were black anyway on this bus, the delivery I'm doing, so it won't be a problem. But you just cut out the window that you want using a pair of sharp scissors. Offer it up, a little dab of glue. I use super glue normally, and then just drop it on, and it just slots. If you can see there, there's recesses that they fit into. So obviously test fit it first, then put the glue in when you're happy, and then just drop it in. The hard part is not getting finger marks all over the windows, and yes, that is the voice of experience. But it all looks quite straightforward. Got the destination blind there, the front window. As you can see, the bus had 3 windscreen wipers, which worked like the ones on a ship. They cleared a big rectangular kind of space on the windscreen. That wasn't carried forward to other buses, but it was a unique feature of 666. But yeah, it looks pretty straightforward. As I say, you just paint it all when it's still in pieces, put the interiors in and glue them in, and then turn your attention to doing the glazing, put it in from the outside. Yeah, obviously the axles go on. I can't see any axle retainers actually, but a bit of plastic card across the bottom of the recess there will do the job quite nicely. Stick the wheels on. It looks fairly simple, so I'll put it in the queue to be built, and we'll see how I get on. And hopefully there will be a part 2, as I say, where we view the built and completed model. So how much will one of these cost you? The answer is £50, plus £4.80 postage and packing, so £54.80 all in. Details of how to order, go to midlandbuskits.co.uk, or just put Midland Bus Kits into your search engine and it will come up. But yeah, all the kits appear to be £50, as I say, with £4.80 postage and packing. You can sometimes find them on eBay, but eBay, the sellers tend to mark the price up, so you'll pay more than that. Which, you know, if the kit isn't available anymore, like the Ford Transit I was after, you can kind of see that, yeah, you might have to buy it. But with one of these, when they're already available from Midland Bus Kits, they're still available for the original price. It seems a bit daft to pay any more for it. So yeah, £54.80. About the going rate for a resin bus kit, pretty decent rate. £4.80 postage, again about the going rate that you'll expect to pay anywhere. So yeah, as I say, I'll put it in the queue, I'll build it, paint it, and we'll see how I get on, and hopefully there'll be a second part where I show you the completed vehicle. There will be some other Nottingham programmes. I'm planning one about the Nottingham standards, as they were called. They weren't standardised at all, but the distinctive looking Nottingham double-deckers that were delivered from the mid-60s to the late 80s. So keep an eye out for that on my channel. I'll put a link to it in the description to this one when I've actually posted it as well. So you can view that as well. And there are some other bits and pieces of Nottingham that are in the pipeline. So again, keep an eye out. But as always, thank you for watching, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.